during the recess. Thus far, there has not been too much back and forth debate to Atticus and Gilmore. After the testimony of Mr. Tate, Mr. Ewell, and Malaya, it was Atticus's turn to call a witness. We chose one, Tom Robinson. Atticus is going to have to tell Tom about himself. Tom is a 25-year-old, he's married, and he has 3 kids. He's doing that to show how normal Tom is. Just like he showed the jury how horrible Malaya's life was. See, now he's getting Tom to admit that he has been in trouble with the law before. A while back, Tom was in a fight and he couldn't pay the fine the court set him. So he had to go to jail for 30 years.
Why would he do that?
Atticus is showing that Tom has nothing to hide.
Were you acquainted with Mayella Violet Ewell?
Yes, sir. I had to pass her place going to and from the field every day.
Whose field?
I picked from Mr. Link D's.
You say you had to pass the Ewell place to get to and from work. Is there any other way to go?
No, sir. None I know of.
Tom, did she ever speak to you?
Why, yes, sir. I tip my hat when I go by. And one day she asked me to come inside the fence and bust up a chipper rope for her.
When did she ask you to chop up the chip rope?
Mr. Finch, it was way last spring. I remember it because it was chopping down, and I had my hoe with me. I said I didn't have nothing but this hoe, but she said that she had a hatchet. She gave me the hatchet, and I broke up the chipper rope. She said, I reckon I'll have to give you a nickel, won't I? And I said, no, ma'am, there ain't no charge. Then I went home, Mr. Finch. That was way last spring, way over a year ago.
Did you ever go on the place again?
Yes, sir.
When?
Well, I went lots of times.
That's interesting. Mayella said that she only called him over that one time. But Tom is saying that she called him over a lot more than that.
Why did you go inside the fence lots of times?
She called me in, sir. Seemed like every time I passed by yonder, she'd have some little thing for me. Chopping, kindling, toting water for her. She watered the red flowers every day.
Were you paid for your service?
No, sir. Not after she offered me a nickel for the first time. I was glad to do it. Mr. Abel didn't seem to help her none, and neither did the children. And I know she didn't have any nickels to spare.
Would Miss Mayella talk to you?
Yes, sir. She talked to me.
Miss Mayella must be the loneliest person in the world. When Atticus asked if she had any friends, she said not to know what he meant. And then she thought that he was making fun of her. She didn't fit in anywhere. White people don't have anything to do with her because she lives among pigs. People won't have anything to do with her because she's white. Tom Robinson was probably the only person who was ever decent to her. But that is what I do not understand. He was nice to her, and she said that he took advantage of her. And then when she stood up, she looked at him as if he were dirt beneath her feet.
Did you ever at any time go on Ewell property? Did you ever set foot on Ewell property without an express invitation from one of them?
No, sir, Mr. Finch. I never did. I wouldn't do that, sir.
Tom, what happened to you on the evening of November 21st of last year?
Mr. Finch, I was going home as usual that evening, and when I passed the Eagle place, Miss Mayella were on the porch and actually said she were. It seemed real quiet, and I didn't know why. I was studying why, just passing by, when she says to me to come here and help her for a minute. Well, I went inside the fence and looked around for some kindling to work on, but I didn't see none, and she says, no, I got something for you to do in the house. The old door's off its hinges and fall's coming on pretty fast. I said, you got a screwdriver, Miss Mayella. She said she sure had. Well, I went up the steps and she motioned me to come inside. And I went in the front room and looked at the door. I said, Miss Mayella, the door look all right. I pulled it back and forth and the hinges was all right. And then she shut the door in my face, Mr. Finch. I was wondering why it was so quiet like. And it come to me that they weren't chilling all over the place. Not one of them. And I said, Miss Mayella, where's the chilling? I said, where's the chilling? And she says, she was laughing, sort of. She says, they all go into town to get ice creams. She says, it took me a slap year to save 7 nickels, but I done it. They all gone to town.
It looks like he's uncomfortable talking about this.
What did you say then, Tom?
I said something like, why, Miss Mayella, that's right smart of you to treat them. And she said, you think so? I don't think she understood what I was thinking. I mean, it was smart of her to save like that, and nice of her to treat him.
I understand you, Tom. Go on.
Well, I said I best be going. I couldn't do nothing for her. And she says, oh yes I could. I asked her what. And she says to just step on that chair yonder and get that box down from on top, chip rope.
Not the same chiffer rope you busted up.
Nah, sir, another one. Most as tall as the room. So I done what she told me, and I was just reaching, when the next thing I know, she grabbed me around the legs. Grabbed me around the legs, Mr. Finch. She scared me so bad I hopped down and turned the chair over. That was the only thing, only furniture disturbed in that room, Mr. Finch. When I left, I swear I forgot.
What happened after you turned the chair over? Tom, you're sworn to tell the whole truth. Will you tell it? What happened after that?
Mr. Finch, I got down off of that chair and turned around, and she sort of jumped on me.
Jumped on you violently?
No, sir. She hugged me. She hugged me around the waist.
Then what did she do?
She reached up and kissed me, side of the face. She says she never kissed a grown man before, and she might as well kiss a Negro. She says what her papa do to her don't count. She says, kiss me back, Negro. I said, Miss Mayola, let me out of here, and tried to run, but she got her back to the door. And I had to push her. I didn't want to harm her, Mr. Finch, and I say, let me pass. But just when I say it, Mr. Ewell yonder hollered through the window.
What did he say?
Something not fit to say, not fit for these folks in Chilton to hear.
What did he say, Tom? You must tell the jury what he said.
No, Tom, go ahead, read that. If you want to read it aloud, go ahead. Otherwise, you can sort of insert something.
He says, you goddamn whore, I'll kill you.
Then what happened?
Mr. Finch, I was running so fast, I didn't know what happened.
Tom, did you rape Mayella Ewell?
I did not, sir.
Did you harm her in any way?
I did not, sir.
Did you resist her advances?
Mr. Finch, I tried. I tried to without being ugly to her. I didn't want to be ugly. I didn't want to push her or nothing.
Why did he run? It's a sure sign he's guilty if he runs.
There weren't any way that he could win in that circumstance, Scout. Tom would not have dared strike at a white woman, under any circumstances, and expected it long. So he took the first opportunity to run, but running is then a sure sign of guilt.
Why did you run?
I was scared, sir.
Why were you scared?
Mr. Finch, if you was a Negro like me, you'd be scared too.
I just want to hold on to you know. This man's worked for me for 8 years now. And he hasn't been in one speck of trouble.
Shut your mouth, sir. Dave Diaz, if you have anything you want to say, you can say it under oath at proper time, but until then, you get out of this room. You hear me? Get out of this room, sir. You hear me? I'll be damned if you listen to this case again.
All right, then please come exit the room and just get sit back here. Pretend like you each.
How odd is that, Jim? Because he spoke out of turn and was really going to have to start over?
No, it ain't like one of the jurymen got up and started talking. I think it'd be different then. Mr. Link was just disturbing the peace or something.
Please strike Mr. Diaz's comment from the record. Jury, please disregard the interruption. Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
You were given 30 days once for disorderly conduct, Robinson.
Yes, sir.
What did the black man look like when you got through with him?
He beat me, Mr. Gilman.
Yes, but you were convicted, weren't you?
It was a misdemeanor, and it's in the record, Judge Shaler. Witness Sills answer them.
Oh, sorry, that was Judge Taylor. I didn't. Judge Taylor, that's you.
Oh, witness answer though.
Yes, sir. I got 30 days.
Mr. Gilman was trying to tell the jury that someone capable of disorderly conduct could easily have put that heart and take advantage of Mayella Ewell. That was the only reason he cared. Reasons like that helped his case.
Robinson, you're pretty good at busting up chiffer robes and kindling with one hand, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I reckon so.
Strong enough to choke the breath out of a woman and sling her to the floor.
I've never done that, sir.
But you were strong enough, too.
I reckon so, sir.
Had your eye on her a long time, had you, boy?
No, sir. I never looked at her.
Then you were mighty polite to do all that chopping and hauling for her, weren't you, boy?
I was just trying to help her out, sir.
Well, that was mighty generous of you. You had chores at home after your regular work, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you do them instead, Mrs. Ewells?
I done them both, sir.
You must have been pretty busy. Why?
Why what, sir?
Why were you so anxious to do that woman's chores?
Looked like she didn't have nobody to help her, like I said.
With Mr. Ewell and 7 children on that place, boy?
Well, I says it looked like they never help her none.
You did all this chopping and work from sheer goodness, boy.
Tried to help her, I says.
You're a mighty good fellow, it seems. Did all this for one penny.
Yes, sir. I felt right sorry for her. She seemed to try more than the rest of them.
You felt sorry for her. You felt sorry for her.
Oh dear, the audience did not like that.
Audience gasp.
Now you went by the house as usual, last November 21st, and she asked you to come in and bust up a chipper road.
No, sir.
Do you deny you went by the house?
No, sir. She said she had something for me to do inside the house.
She says she asked you to bust up a chipper road. Is that right?
No, sir, it ain't.
Then you say she's lying, boy.
I don't say she's lying, Mr. Gilmer. I say she's mistaken in her mind.
For the next 10 questions, Mr. Gilmore will review Maya's version of the events, but Tom simply stated that she was mistaken in her mind.
Didn't Mr. Yule run off that place, boy?
No, sir, I don't think he did.
Don't think. What do you mean?
I mean, I didn't stay long enough for him to run me off.
You're very candid about this. Why did you run so fast?
Dill? Dill, why are you crying?
Scout, take Dill out of here. If you don't go with him, I'll make you.
What's the matter with you, Dill?
It was just him. I couldn't stand.
Who? Tom?
No, Mr. Gilbert doing him that way, talking so hateful to him.
He's supposed to act that way, Dill. He's cross-examining him.
He didn't act that way when he talked to Malaya, Mr. Evil, or Mr. Tate.
Dill, those were his own witnesses.
Well, Mr. Finch didn't act that way to and old man Ewell when he cross-examined them. The way that man called him boy all the time and sneered at him and looked around the jury every time he answered.
Well, Dill, after that, he's just a black man.
Don't care one speck. It ain't right. Somehow it ain't right to do him that way. Hasn't anybody got any business talking that like that? It just makes me sick.
That's just Mr. Gilmer's way, Dill. He does them all the way. You've never seen him get good and nasty on one yet. Why? When? Well, today when Mr. Gilmer seemed to me like he wasn't half trying, they all do him all that way. Most lawyers, I mean.
Mr. Finch doesn't.
He's not an example, Dill. He's the same in the courtroom as he is in public streets.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I mean. Nobody should ever talk to another person like that. It just makes me sick.
All right, ladies and gents, we're going to now